Young ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all of you. Once again, you are welcome here on the Availers Consciences platform. In international news, the announcement was made by the spokesperson for the Iranian Ministry of Defense. Iran, which is truly very angry, is absolutely determined to confront the United States of America, that protects its protege, which happens to be Israel. The America that, in the name of its power, has bombed Iran. Iran is not willing to tolerate the United States of America. Iran is ready to engage in a long-term conflict with the United States of America. And because of this, Iran is preparing for 10 years of conflict, first with America. 10 years to start with. As you know, Donald Trump has been placed on the Iranian list as a Moharab. Moharab means someone who wages war against God. Iran is currently fighting Mordecai's ass, Almighty God, to give him the strength to fight those who fight against him. So, the United States of America, no matter what, means America has, in Iran's eyes, it is God who holds the means. It will look like David versus Goliath, just as we saw recently between Israel and Iran, and even between America and Iran, since the various bombings have been a resounding failure. Iran has therefore decided to prepare for a long-term conflict lasting 10 years. And to achieve its goals, Iran has made a very rare decision in the military sphere. So what decision is that? That's what we're going to talk about in this video conference. But before we continue, as usual, I ask you to share this video conference as much as possible. Give it lots of likes. And if this is your first time here, don't hesitate to click subscribe. Subscribe to the Les Samouraï channel. This allows you to never miss our video conferences again. So let's dive deeper. Iran is preparing for a potential 10-year war with the United States. To this end, Iran has increased its military budget by 200%. Iran has increased its military budget by 200%. Yes, it's not 100%, but 200%. Allocating a large fund to defense to enable Iran to once again acquire the most sophisticated, the most modern equipment that will allow Iran to assert its true sovereignty and force the United States of America to yield. We will look at the details of the announcement, but already what must be said is that this is tangible proof that what Iran has said, Iran is following through. Everything is in God's hands. But Iran has said it will not stop its nuclear program. For anyone, Iran will not stop. They have warned the United Nations at the UN. They have made statements. The major powers have been informed that Iran will not stop. Now, Israel, just 72 hours ago, announced once again that they would carry out strikes in Iran at the slightest sign of resumption of the Iranian nuclear program. As soon as Iran resumes its armament, Israel will strike. And if Israel strikes, already Israel is acting in synergy with America. In fact, we have learned that Israel, which is preparing to strike Iran during these past 2 days, Israel is getting ready to strike Iran. Benjamin Netanyahu is said to have discussed it with Donald Trump, who, I stress this is conditional, is said to have in turn given his approval. So if Israel strikes Iran, Iran will strike Israel. And we all know we've compared their forces. We've seen that it's not even a contest. There's no reason to compare because Iran far surpasses Israel in terms of strength. So Israel will be weakened after a few days. And it will be America that takes over. And if America takes over, it will really be necessary for the conflict to remain between Iran and the United States. Iran must be able to respond to American strikes. So very recently, Iran responded by destroying, how should we call it? A radar station, a communication station that was in Qatar. So maybe this time, Iran will decide to target American soil directly. And to do that, Iran must acquire all the necessary means. All means whether it's the latest generation of sophisticated weapons. Iran must acquire weapons capable of traveling from continent to continent. Iran must acquire munitions, a lot of munitions, even if Iran's allies are there to help Iran, of course. And in this regard, we can already see the reunions, meetings there. That's the world meetings between Iranian ministers and ministers from other allied countries such as China and Russia are increasing. These meetings are multiplying, and the strengthening of ties is becoming a reality. So according to the information, the Iranian government has proposed a 200% increase in its military budget for the next fiscal year. So for 2026. And not for 2026, actually. The next fiscal year will start from, yes, I think, yes, it's 2026, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. Well, there's some difficulty understanding the fiscal year, but in any case, it's very soon. The fiscal year is very soon. So what we'll learn is this proposal was announced by the government spokesperson named Fateme Mohammed Mohajerani. It's not easy to pronounce, Fateme Mohajerani. This announcement he had to make comes in the context of escalating hostilities, as we mentioned earlier. But the problem is that Iran has not specified its 2025 military budget. So if it specifies its 2025 military budget for 2026, when we talk about the fiscal year, normally it's 2026. For 2026, how much will it be? The amount is not known because we first need to know the current amount. But what remains clear is that Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is determined. That is to say, the Iranian Supreme National Security Council is determined. They must acquire the most sophisticated and robust weapons because the Ayatollah has declared that Israel is a cancerous tumor. That's what he said. So when you say that an entity is a cancerous tumor, you know medically what needs to be done. When there is a part of the human body that is described in this way, you have to, in any case, you have to cure the disease. So you understand then that the problem runs very deep and that Iran is not ready to give up. So ladies and gentlemen, here are the top international news stories. So please share them as much as possible. I'll be back with more news for you shortly. This was the voice of your one and only Samurai.